Hey, what's going on today, guys? Lord Hippo Guy here, and we're going to have a little bit different video today. I really wanted to talk about something. This book right here. So this is Aliens Infiltrator, written by Weston Orsh, I think it is. It's kind of hard to, say. But I really wanted to talk about this game, not this game, the book, because Aliens Fireteam, as you know, did come out, and well, that's kind of what it's about. So I figured, why don't I tell you about the prequel? Like, what happened in Fireteams? Why is everything happening? What happened, like, before? What happened on Palace Station? Who's Dr. Honecker? Why is he the only survivor? So I figured I'll play through the first mission, just so you have something to look at in the background, instead of just my gorgeous face the entire time. And I think I'll describe this to you, like tell you some about it. And if you guys liked it, maybe I'll do more with other Aliens books and stuff like that if you wanted to know the lore. So allow me to just hit you with the lore. So this book takes place with a Dr. Tim Honecker. He arrives to Palace Station. Palace Station we actually don't get to visit in this game, but we know that it's apparently overrun and it's like swarming with Xenos, like xenomorphs, the aliens, basically. So, well, that's like great. Also, I need to check day's work. Demolition? Oh, easy. And giants in the earth. I don't want to do that mission, but I'll do it anyway, Yep. Join queue for mission at casual difficulty. Yep. Yeah, I just did this because I didn't feel like trying at all. But, so it starts with Dr. Tim Honecker. He's the main character of the book. He's a doctor, he's a scientist. He's going there to study alien artifacts. Now, when he drops off, he meets a lot of characters. For starters, the first character that he actually ends up meeting is Rawlings. Victor Rawlings, who is actually the security chief there. Basically, he knows everyone who's there. He's been there for years. He knows everyone. He's got a robot arm, which is really cool, you find out. And he's like a really nice guy. But super talkative is what you find out. Because Honecker at one point is like, wow, this guy just doesn't stop talking. Anyway, so Honecker lands. He lands with another person, actually. You might be asking, oh, who's he land with? Well, he lands with the infiltrator of this book. They call him... So, oh man, let me just check real fast. I don't want to get his name right. Oh, Fairbanks. So his name's Steve Fairbanks, and you find out that, you find out later in the story that he is, actually a traitor to the entire, like, group and place. Yeah. So that's, like, fun. Not for them, kind of, but, it's cool to, like, find out. So basically, Dr. Tim Honecker shows up here. He, well, that's cool. They have health bars now. I like that, actually. So he shows up. His first day, he walks in. He meets everyone at orientation. He begins talking to some people, and he's like, wow, this place is, like, huge, There's a lot of, like, things going on. As soon as he meets his boss, though, his boss just reams him out, like, you are a week late. And he's like, I don't control space travel. And his boss is like any boss. If you've ever worked for like a big corporation, they're like, that's unacceptable. And he's like, okay. So he tries to like, make it better. He's like, I can't wait to study alien artifacts. Well, his boss is like, oh, that's not actually what we do here. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, we don't study alien artifacts. You will be doing something completely different. And he's like, but that's why I came here. That's why I showed up. And he's like, lower your voice. So already I'm like, this boss is a jerk, okay? They describe him as a man in a suit and a tie, old, with a nice beard and suave back hair. That's what they describe him as. And I'm just like, annoying. That's what I think. At least that's what I picked up from him. But then you meet a lot of other characters. You meet some more scientists. If you want, I can go more into depth into each character. But you meet a French scientist whose name is like Antoine, like that. Then you meet a retired Marine named Cruz, who has an afro, and he's like pretty shredded still for a scientist, which is always funny in my book. Like, this scientist is jacked. Like, that's what's funny. And those are like some of the things that you meet. Oh my gosh! Sorry, I was just attacked in the middle of my talk. But you meet like a female scientist who's like super nice. I can't actually remember her name. Let me pull it up for you. Her name was... Cash. Dr. Cash is what her name is. So Dr. Cash is the female scientist there who's like really nice. Then you meet, there's a quiet mumbled doctor who you don't... Oh my gosh, I gotta talk again! What the heck? Sorry. I just keep getting attacked by all the jumpers, which is extremely rude. But basically, he goes in there and he finds out that he's not working on alien artifacts. What he will be working on is actual aliens. Now, they have an alien that's in the testing thing, but it's not a normal alien. It looks almost like a cat mixed with a spider. If I get attacked by something jumping on me one more time, I swear to all that's good. No, but basically, he's like, oh, so that's what this is all about. He's like, okay, cool, yeah, I can do that. What is behind us? Oh, it's a spitter. Okay, I'll handle this. Got him. Don't even worry about it. So he's like, what are we actually like studying and stuff like that? And you find out quickly that Honecker's not one for like going and like checking things out. That's actually not what he's about. But his good friend told him like, hey, you know, like you only live once, go and do like the coolest things that you can do. So he decides like, yeah, you know, that's what I'll go and do. So he goes to like, he goes to this place, Palace Station. It's on the, basically it's like the place to nowhere. Is pretty much where he's at. It's at the middle of nowhere. He finds out that the station has a problem with rats and stuff like that. There's like all these like small things, like little problems with the station, but nothing crazy. Well, after he meets all his other scientist friends and they find out that they're testing and working on this black goo that you've seen from Prometheus, if you've seen the movie, the black goo goes on something. And then from there, it pretty much just like activates and changes a creature like completely, like to something completely different. That's basically what the black goo does. Now, you find out that Honecker didn't know that that's what he was here doing. He thought he was just going to study in advanced societies like alien artifacts. Well, newsflash, he doesn't get that. Not at all, actually. So as he continues on his way, you meet like a lot of new characters, and you go back to Steve Fairbanks, who you met in the beginning. He was a guy who was just sleeping on the ship with Honecker. Well, this guy sleeping on the ship with Honecker was like, oh my gosh, like wake me up when we get there, like I really don't want to do anything. And he's like, back to the grind, like he hated being there. Like that's what you find out. And Honecker's like, oh, I can't be that bad. And he's like, just wait. Well, when you meet up with him, you find out that he's nervous. He's sweating. He's really like scared because he is the infiltrator of this book. That's why it says like Alien Infiltrator. So he brings rats from another group. So there's Weyland-Yutani and there's other giant corporations, right? And these other giant corporations, basically they want to know what Weyland-Yutani's up to, and they want in on all the stuff that they get. So he brings rats that have trackers in them, and the rats will go through all the wirings and the vents and stuff like that, and they will map the whole area. So now Weyland-Yutani's enemies know what this entire place looks like, which is really cool. Sorry. Drink break. If you can guess what the drink is, you win. But I'll give you a hint, it's a combination of 2 drinks put together. And that's still going to be difficult to guess. So the rats, right? They check everything. He's really nervous. He's not sure what he can do. Basically, long story short, he eventually does get caught. When he gets caught, though, he makes a couple mistakes. So let's go back and find out what his mistakes were. Step 1 of his mistakes, somebody else catches him first. And the person's like, hey, as long as you do my chores and do all the work for me, I won't tell anyone what you did here. And Steve Fairbanks very calmly kills him. He says, I'm tired of being taken advantage of, and he kills him with like a punch. Like he just punches him to death. And then he makes him eat his cyanide pill that he was going to take because he was about to like kill himself. He's like, oh, I'll take the cyanide pill so Weyland-Yutani doesn't torture me. Instead, he feeds it to the other guy and kills that random dude. Crazy! What does he do with his body? He grabs it and throws it inside an air duct and tries to hide it like forever. The guy's insane. He's a psycho. Okay? Well, let's go back to what Honecker's been up to. So Honecker and Cruz have been working on new creatures, right? So they're working on like new things that they want to make. They create a creature called Leon 895. Now, Leon 895 actually is like, he's like a spider monster that has like human appendages. He's completely white, but he can camouflage himself to like perfectly. Like if he's standing still, you can't see him. They actually have him in this game. You can actually fight him. And when I say he like camouflages perfectly, you cannot see him if he's not moving. If he's moving, you can see like just a shimmer, which is, you know, equally as terrifying. Where am I supposed to be going? I actually don't know. Oh, here. Huh? So that's what you find out. You find out that they're creating this creature. And Cruz, he like takes like joy in like messing with this creature. But then you find out he takes joy in it because when he was a Marine, his entire group was killed by these giant like tentacle like xenomorphs. And it made him like, he resents aliens forever. And you might think like, wow, this guy's like, sounds like a serial killer. No, he turns out to be a really kind and nice person. Like he helps Honecker out like a ton with a ton of like different things. But let's continue, shall we? So as we continue through the series, they continue creating this monster, right? Not this monster, but you know the thing that they've been working on that I was talking about, Leon 895. Well, one day while Fairbanks is in there, and Fairbanks' job was just fixing stuff. That's basically what he does. And while he's fixing stuff, what would happen? The person who's running the investigation comes in and they're like, we know it's you, Fairbanks, give up. And he's like, what? And he's like, no, it's not me. You got it all wrong. And they're like, no, we found everything. Like, we got you all figured out. You're toast. And what does Fairbanks do? You know, he goes quietly and just says like, okay, like, you know, I guess he caught me. No, instead, he grabs his hand and he smashes the containment button, opening the cage to Leon 895, who immediately kills two of the scientists that I didn't give you the name of because I didn't want you to get attached to them. But they do bite the dust. It's a quiet fat guy and a regular like nice dude who you really don't get to talk to too much, which is so it's a real shame that he dies so early on in the book. And he dies by getting his head completely cut off. Oh, the person who was going to take Fairbanks in, by the way, the creature jumps on and eats his entire head. What about Fairbanks? He surely dies, right? He was right next to the monster. No, he's able to run out of the room in time. So this creature basically runs out of the room in two, and who would you guess goes after it? Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Wait 1 second. Nerd. Okay, I'm done. But who chases after it? Cruz does, and Honecker. Cruz and Honecker follow after it. Well, when Honecker is chasing after it, the creature almost has him in his sights. And he's like, oh, no, 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 no. Basically, like, you know, he's terrified. He's like, the creature's going to get me, like, obviously. Which, you know, I mean, he's just a doctor, so he doesn't have much to defend himself. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm playing and, like, something big attacks me, and I get, like, nervous. But Honecker and Cruz go after that, and the creature almost has Honecker when him and Cruz split up for a second. But androids, like these, show up to help. Get rocket launcher, nerd. Get out of my game. Destroyed. So, these androids come and they attempt to help him, but the androids are just getting torn apart because even them, and they're, you know, they're pretty good, but they can't like react to how fast Leon 895 is. This invisible spider creature. And Cruz is the only smart one apparently, and he's like, can somebody just pour paint on it or throw something on it like blood or something, like that way we can see it. Well, apparently somebody throws pink paint that they had on the creature, as it's running, and Cruz and Honecker both shoot it together with their pistol. So they both end up finishing it off, which is cool. You know, it's cool to watch them like work together. Well, after they finish it off, nobody can find Fairbanks. And you might be saying, like, what? Nobody can find him on the station? Palace Station is described as a small town. So it's huge. Has something like, I forget how many people they said that was actually in there. But it's a lot. There's a lot of people that were actually in Palace Station, you find out. Well, anyway, they're like, oh, well, there's a lot of people. And they're like, yep, tons of people. And they're like, okay. I only have a pistol now because I've been like just firing off bullets at random pew 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 pew. Well, nobody can find him. Let's flash forward to where Fairbanks is at, shall we? Fairbanks is hiding under all these boxes in a back room, in a back room, in a back room, he describes it. While he's there, one of the little spider creatures must have like given birth or something, right? And you might be asking like, what? Given birth? What? Yeah, so apparently this creature gave birth really fast because one of the tiny spider ones, these ones, when I described the other spider one, I want you to know it was like the size of a medium-sized dog, okay? So it was pretty big, like the size of like a husky, okay? That's pretty big. Well, the one that attacks him is like the size, he says it's no bigger than his foot, but it jumps on him and starts like biting his leg, like really just tearing into him. He eventually he like kicks it against the wall and punches it and eventually is able to kill it. And that's when it gets bad for him because he's been there for a while, so he's kind of like been starving. Like he's really hungry. And he's so hungry that he eventually is like, are we being chased? Yeah, we are being chased. Anyway, so he's so hungry, he's like, maybe I can eat this creature. And he goes, well, let's go this way. The creature already bit me. So one, it's already going to infect me, and I'm already toast. Or it's not going to infect me, no matter what, and I can eat this food. That's honestly what he believes, which is, I mean, it kind of makes sense, I guess. But still, I would not have eaten a random spider creature with gross legs. And like, it's described as having kind of hairy legs. So he basically rips off the legs and attempts to eat those parts of it. And that's where we stop following Fairbanks for a while. Well, story continues, right? Wow, is this thing just bulletproof? What the heck? Bulletproof that, nerd. Anyway, as we continue through the story, wouldn't you know, it goes back to Honecker and Cruz. And there's also, there's also Cash. She's there as well. She's the entire time just joking with Honecker, like about how he's always nervous about stuff. Which, I mean, like, in good faith, because a creature got out and almost killed, like, everyone. Well, they find out that they're actually getting alien eggs. Those ovomorph eggs. That's what they're called, ovomorphs. Oh dear, that's a lot of aliens. How many is that? Oh wow, that's a lot. I wonder, can you just run past them? Nope, you cannot just run past them. Pistol time, baby! Get riggedy wrecked. Yeah, get completely dumpster on, kid. Anyway, sorry, I keep getting lost in just like shooting aliens. Just, it's what I was called for. I was put on this earth to shoot xenomorphs and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. What's this orange one down here? Oh, it's dead now. Anyway, sorry, I keep getting... You go back to Cruz and Honecker, okay? Honecker and Cruz, what are they up to? What have they been doing? So they get the alien eggs, and they find out that they're going to be using the black goo, the pathogen, on the alien eggs. And you got to be wondering, like, what are they going to do with the alien eggs? Well, they apparently have a bunch of prisoners, like people on death row, inmates, who are going to be used for it. And Honecker's like, I didn't sign up for this. And Cruz is like, yeah, me neither. What the heck? Nobody said we were going to be using these on people. And the entire scientist crew is like, yeah, we don't want to do this. And then Weyland-Yutani's like, they've already signed off their rights. It doesn't matter what you say. We'll get different people to do it if you won't do it. And they're like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, but we will fire you. And it's going to go against your contract. So, and they're like, and they're death row people. They're people on death row. They're already going to die. So we're going to use them. And they're like, okay. And they get a bunch of people, you know, in death row, and they're all there for different reasons. And they told these people on death row, like, hey, if you help out, we will basically grant you one final request. Like, if you want us to, like, pay for anything, we'll completely fund that. If you have, like, a kid that you want to be taken care of, we'll completely fund him forever. Like, wherever you need him to be. Like, we'll help him. So, you know, that's the only part where I was like, okay, that's actually not, like, the worst. Because if I was already on death row and I'm toast, I mean, like, I guess it'd be cool if somebody was like, and we'll help your kid. I'd be like, oh, okay. First of all, I don't know why I am murdering when I have... I don't know why I'm murdering when I have a child. Like, that's kind of... It's kind of silly, if you ask me. A little silly head. But, basically, as Honecker's watching all these people get off, he looks at one of the people in one of the rooms and he goes, oh my gosh, it's her. And at first I'm like, what is he talking about? What does he mean? Turns out he believes that the person in there is his ex-girlfriend. Yeah, his ex-girlfriend is one of the people that's going to have a creature jump on her face and gestate. That's what he believes. So he's like, oh my gosh, like, we can't let this happen. He's like, Cruz, I need to know the names of everyone in there. And Cruz is like, no, I can't do that. And he's like, please, I need to know everyone's name. And Cruz is like, I can't do that. And he's like, okay, like, I'll go, fine. So then he goes to find Rawlings, who's the guy who knows everyone. Rawlings, he's the head of security, right? So Rawlings is like, answers the door. He's got a little bit of a beer belly now. He was drinking, it says, and he's semi-drunk, and he's like, what do you want? And he's like, I need to know everyone's names. Can you give me their names? And he's like, I can give you what they came in as. He's like, yeah, of course, yeah, that'll do. And he's like, okay, sure. Let's I can do that for you. So that's what he says. And he finds out that he can't find their actual name. It's just initials, like H and C. And he goes, oh, H and C. And he gets like a nod of names. And one of the initials sounds like one of them, MD. And he's like, MD, that could be Monica. And he's like, he has to know. So he sneaks in there late at night. Yeah, you can already see where this is going. Sneaks in late at night. They're already all in these crazy, testing rooms. Their testing rooms are made out of, like, tungsten steel and glass together, so you can see, but it's also incredibly strong and acid-proof, which is pretty impressive, actually. So they get out there, right? And they're, like, looking around, and they're like, huh. And they check everything out, and they're like, well, sorry, I'm getting, like, conflustered. What? It's not even a word. Anyway, so they go to check everything out. He goes in there middle of the night, okay? He hides in there. He goes on the intercom and he goes, beep, and he goes, it's you, isn't it? And all she does is nod her head. And he goes, well, can you say anything? She goes, what do you want me to say? You left me all those years ago. And he's like, what happened? Is somebody, like, really sick in your family or blah, 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 and you need something? And she goes, oh, why I'm in here? I'm a Black Widow, she says. And she says that she's been basically running around and killing every man that she dates. And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I don't know if it started when you left me. I don't know if you would have been my first victim. I don't know if you would have stayed, would it have ever stopped? And she's basically trying to, like, put the blame on, like, him. And he's like, but I just wasn't, you know, I fell out of love. That's what he believes. He just wasn't really in love with her, you know? At least that's what he believes. And she's just in there and she's saying like all the terrible things that she did to other people, right? Which, like, first of all, shut up. That's what I wanted to tell her. Like, stop talking. You're annoying. Stop messing with my man Honecker. Well, he turns it off and he sinks back into his chair. In the corner of the room, a chair spins around, and who would be in it but Cruz? So Cruz shows up and he's like, "Oh my, am I in trouble?" And Cruz is like, "No." He's like, "I wanted to know what you would do." And he's like, "I'm not mad at you either. I would have done the same thing." And he's like, "But the reason I couldn't tell you who it was is because I knew what it meant to you when I looked you in the eyes." And he's like, "I wasn't going to put you through that pain." And he's like, "Oh, thanks, man." And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I respect you a little bit more now." And he's like, "Ah, thanks." That's what Cruz says to Honecker. He's like, "I respect you a little bit more now." Which I always think is like a funny thing to like say to somebody, like, "I didn't respect you until now." And basically, the tests go on. She's the only one who doesn't run away from the egg or try and run. She walks right over to it and just stares at it. And she's the only one who the facehugger doesn't jump or try and attack her. It just crawls up her and goes right on her face. Anyway, long story short, aliens are all made. Tons of them, right? Well, all these aliens are created and basically are all popped out. Except one of them that comes out because they're all tested on with the black goo, the pathogen. All the black goo is tested on all of them, but one of them, the egg itself, was just injected with the pathogen, and the person, the host, was injected with the pathogen. And then they had the person, had the facehugger, and they gave birth to him and everything. And they were like, "Oh, like, that's weird." So they're like, "Oh, okay." Well, one comes out fully albino white and see-through. And this one, well, is the craziest one. Wow, this is really cool looking though. This place is awesome looking. Look at the trees. Anyway, I sat all the way back here because my turret can pretty much handle everything that I'm fighting here. Noise. Anyway, this white one is different. The albino one, who's on the cover right here, if you can see it, I don't know if it shows me. He's very intelligent. You find that out later. If you want to hear more, I can do like a part 2.